How much should you spend on a car if your goal is financial freedom? Or if you just want to get on top of your finances? Should you buy new or second hand? Or lease a vehicle? And if you do buy second hand, how old should you go? Some people even say that the only cars that make financial sense are classic cars. We'll come back to this one.
Regular watchers of this channel will know that our goal is financial freedom in our 30s. It pains us to see company car parks full of shiny new cars that their drivers cannot afford, with tens of thousands spent on a shiny box on wheels to get them to and from a job they hate.
Their car, often brand new, is part of the problem keeping them poor, with either huge monthly payments to a lease company or else around £20,000 of savings surrendered to a dealership to buy it outright.
Knowing how much you're spending on cars is half the battle. In this video, we're going to use an average 5-door hatchback as an example and break down all the costs of buying it into understandable monthly equivalents. You can compare these directly against lease fees to work out which is best financially. Buying or leasing? Let's check it out.
Welcome to Unshackled.com, the investing and finance channel that sets you and your finances free. This is Andy, I'm Ben, and if you like what we say, hit the like button and click subscribe.
And be sure to check out the offers page on Unshackled.com, where we are proud to bring you cashback offers, including this one from Free Trade, a top-rated zero-fee shares platform for which we have now negotiated an exclusive link. You get a free share worth up to £200 when you open a new account through our link. Let's get into the video.
Buying new versus buying second hand. Don't worry, we'll get to leases, but on the way there we need to understand the different costs of buying the same car at different ages. In our example, we've used a Ford Focus, but we could have used any family or starter car. We'll look at different ages of this model to see what flavour of second hand is the most economical versus buying new.
Crucially, we thought about the real monthly cost over the time that you own the car, so you can see really what the car is costing you. Even though many of these costs are either annual or one-offs, breaking these costs down into a monthly average is a great way to budget and to compare several options. So let's kick off with fuel efficiency. The newer the car, the less it will cost you in fuel for the same number of miles. We've assumed 10,000 miles a year on a 1.6 litre petrol, a tick in favour of buying new.
But that's where buying new ends from a financial point of view. Let's next look at the cost of depreciation. Depreciation is the loss that you make between the price that you bought for and the price that you will sell for. Here we've assumed you hold the car for 3 years. It's really clear from this table that a new car will cost you a fortune each month in lost value, while cars between 4 and 8 years old, still perfectly serviceable, have significantly less depreciation. And in the green, at the rust bucket end of a car's life, there is of course very little left to lose.
Next, there's maintenance, such as repairing faults or replacing parts, and car tax. The maintenance cost could be anything, but the numbers in this table are based on our experience from owning this car. New cars are better off in both these areas, but until a car gets to at least 10 years old, then there isn't much to pay in maintenance anyway, in our experience, at least compared to depreciation. And car tax certainly isn't a main decision factor at such a low monthly cost.
Next, any financial analyst worth his salt has to consider the opportunity cost. Stay with us because this is vitally important and sets those who are aspiring financially free apart from those who will be retiring age 70, who will, granted, have driven some nice cars along the way. If you had a spare few grand lying around in cash, you would effectively be losing money by not having invested it properly into cash flow generating assets, real cash in your pocket.
This is the opportunity cost. Far higher on a new car as you have more cash locked away. What we are getting at here is the fact that you have locked up a significant chunk of your savings into a metal box with wheels, money that could otherwise be invested and making you profit.
We've assumed here a 10% return for simplicity. We've covered before how we make 20% plus in property investing and how an 8% return on the stock market is not uncommon. The money you have locked away in the car is the amount you can sell it for. The amount you paid is irrelevant because the difference has already been lost to depreciation. While your money is locked in a car, it can't be used elsewhere and is costing you potential profits.
So let's see how all this adds up. Here is the total monthly cost of an average family hatchback at different ages of new and second hand. We haven't even considered the insurance or AARAC membership, but if spending a baseline of even £376 a month on a car is justifiable for the joy it brings you, go ahead. Remember, this is only a Ford hatchback. Audis and BMWs will cost far more, but the colour coding should be similar.
We see that it is best financially to buy in the 10 to 14 years bracket, but that maintenance costs start to creep up after this. But fantastically, buying a 4 to 8-year-old car is barely any more expensive, and a 4-year-old car can practically feel new to drive. A 4-year-old car strikes a good balance between depreciation and maintenance. Don't get bogged down in these numbers, they are just based on our estimates, but the general trend will apply to any car, being crazy high costs at the start, followed by lowering costs over the years, followed by increased maintenance at the end as the car starts to become a liability.
Compared to leasing. Now let's look at leasing as an option and how that compares to buying outright. Here's how much it might cost to lease this same car. Lease cars are generally new, so will have the best fuel efficiency. Car tax is often paid by the lease company, not you, and there is no cash locked away in a lease car that you can get back, so there is no opportunity cost.
However, the lease fee plus admin fees, which include the higher initial rent payment, are similar to what the depreciation would have been on a new car if you'd bought it, and there will likely be moderately high maintenance charges. Maintenance charges on a brand new lease car, you say? What could those be?
When you give a lease car back after 3 years, the lease company will do all they can to shake you down for every last penny, on the dubious premise that the car has obtained some wear and tear over the years that you've had it. If you've ever had a pebble ping off your car, leaving a unnotable tiny scratch, then the microscopes and scanners they deploy when they take back the car will spot it and charge you hundreds. We've also considered that you may have to spend a few £100s on additional mileage charges, as it is very easy to go over the agreed limit. It is sensible to budget for up to £1,000 on final maintenance costs when you take back a lease car.
A lease car then, in our example, compares financially to buying a new car. And we say don't buy new if you value your finances. The pros of leasing. One good thing to say about leasing is that there is no massive upfront cost. Even buying a 4-year-old Ford Focus could cost you well over £6,000, so there is no need to sacrifice your savings up front. It might take you years to save up to buy a decent car. Having to drive rust buckets in the meantime, that could be costing you a fortune to maintain. Leasing could be the answer for you.
Leasing is debt. To take on a car lease is a form of debt. You are being given a brand new, very expensive machine, and on day one, all you typically have to give is 6 months monthly payments. In the eyes of the law, you are being lent a significant portion of the cost of this vehicle, and you will be credit checked when you apply. And your credit history will show this as a type of loan.
This is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just something to be aware of, as it could impact your ability to take out other loans, mortgages or credit cards. Cash flow asset theory with cars. The way I will finance my next car purchase is by buying a cash flow asset, in this case a rental property. Instead of putting thousands of pounds into a car, I will instead put thousands of pounds into bricks and mortar, which is far less likely to depreciate in value and will in fact likely go up. In this way, I haven't really spent any money. Meanwhile, rental profits from a property will provide hundreds of pounds a month that can be used to lease a new car. Voila! A new car financed by savings, but without actually having spent anything.
Classic cars. Another way to avoid depreciation is to buy a car that is so old it has become classic. Of course, it also needs to be in good condition, and many classic cars are worth tens of thousands of pounds. Many appreciate in value too if properly maintained, meaning their prices go up instead of down. If you can afford to spend £30,000 on a BMW 3 Series that may only be worth £10,000 in 5 years' time, then could you instead spend that money on a classic Alfa Romeo, which will hold its value?
A noose around the neck of freedom. Remember, if you are on the path to controlling your finances, or are even on the path to financial freedom like us, an over-expensive car can stop you from reaching that goal. Look at any office car park and you will see that it's filled with new Audis, BMWs and Range Rovers, so it can't just be the directors driving these. Ordinary workers think they can afford these luxury products because they have it on lease, and technically can afford to spend several £100s a month in lease fees.
These clever financing companies deceive the buyer into thinking they can afford the car by extending the term over which they pay the car. These people are missing out on a chance to free themselves from the workplace. If only they would channel those hundreds of pounds a month into buying assets like houses and stock portfolios instead.
Question of the day. Did you find our analysis helpful? And do you now have a plan about what to do regarding buying or leasing? Let us know in the comments below. We love to hear your feedback.
Thanks for watching! On this channel we talk a lot about personal finance, investing and all things money. If you want to see more great content, please click the subscribe button below.
This is MoneyUnshackled.com. See you next time.